Hello, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Campfire Stories with Sasquatch. Tonight I'm going to do things a little differently. I'm not telling a ghost story. I'm going to tell a true hunting story that I wrote about back in 2019. I have a lot of this old content that I put pen to paper, wrote down back in the from around 2000 all the way up to 2020. So I've got 20 years worth of content that's never been recorded, at least not on video. So tonight I'm going to tell you about a hunting trip that I went on with my son in 2019. And here goes. Do you know that sinking feeling that you get when you shoot at a nice deer and miss? I really don't get that feeling because for me, that's when the fun starts. My son and I were leaving the hunting club when he yelled out deer pointing in front of us. And there, standing about 200 yards away on the side of the path, there was a nice buck. He turned and started running. I stopped the truck, jumped out, and propped up with my rifle, looking through the scope. He had gained a lot of distance on us. It looked like about a 400-yard plus shot. But I remember the old man telling me, "You miss every shot you don't take." Boom! I sent lead down range. The deer stumbled, turned left, and went into the woods. I was pretty sure I missed, possibly impacted around his feet. But we went down and looked for him anyways. My son and I searched the wood line for evidence of the deer. We found where he stumbled, but absolutely no sign that I had hit him. My son's dog was with us. His name's Adventure Time. I often see on the online forums where people say, "I shot at a nice buck, I need a dog." I don't have to ask for one. I've usually got one in the truck. Adventure Time smelled the spot and popped his head up looking into the brush. He jumped across the ditch, ran about 15 yards into the brush, and started baying. I had hit the deer. The deer was laid up over just across the ditch. Now, ordinarily, you wouldn't put the dog out that fast if you're trying to track the deer. But it was almost dark. So if we were going to run this deer, we needed to go ahead and do it. Plus, I didn't even think I'd hit the deer. So we're preparing to go across the ditch and finish the deer off when Adventure Time's bark changed and he started moving. The deer still had some fight in him. The deer was on his feet. Now, this is the point where our style of hunting is different than some. A lot of people hunt by themselves and they really don't want anybody else involved in their hunt. I got on the radio and called for my cousins and my friends that were hunting with me that day and said, "Hey, I need help." I explained the block of woods we were in and explained that we had shot at a deer, wounded it, and it was on its feet and we had a dog on it. I watched and listened as Adventure Time drove the deer towards the back of the block, directly to one of my cousins. Adventure Time's bark is very distinct. He goes, "Baroo," and he howls. And you can hear that voice for miles. So echoing through the briars and the brambles was, "Baroo." By the way, this is a good time to mention that Adventure Time is one of Polly's puppies. He was involved in the Polly's Puppies episode where they chased the bear. He was one of the puppies. Now he's a grown dog doing his own thing. I heard him screaming through the woods, "Boo!" And then all of a sudden, boom, boom! Another member of our hunting club had seen the deer and fired. The deer turned back into the woods. My cousin that shot at the deer had two more dogs in his truck and put them on the track. He got on the radio and said, "Absolutely, I missed. But the deer is wounded." So we watched and listened as the dogs pushed the deer back through the block. They were coming right back towards us. Blake and I were waiting for our opportunity. The bushes crashed, but we couldn't see the deer. And we do not shoot at bushes. There was a puppy in our dog box that got real excited and barked out. The deer turned and headed towards the other side of the block. Blake was trying to get the puppy to be quiet. He was going, shh, shh. But the puppy was just so excited, we had to let him out. The buck turned and started moving towards the west corner of the block. We had people waiting there for him as well. As we started moving to try and stay up with the dogs, the deer crossed the path. We heard, boom! Another member of the hunting party had taken a shot. We waited to hear what had happened on the radio. We listened to the dogs get closer. Then the dogs hushed. We heard the repeat of a pistol, pop, pop. And then a member of our hunting club is on the radio. Big buck down. You guys come to my location. So we drove around the corner, and there stood a 12-year-old boy holding his 20-gauge shotgun standing over the deer. He looked at me and said, Mr. Todd, Dad told me here's your deer. This deer was shot, and I only finished him off. I looked at the deer. I looked at the little boy standing there. I said, nah, son, that's your deer. All I did was slow him down. Good job. I'm happy for you. To me, it's about the thrill of the chase, not the kill. How many hunters reading this get just as excited about your friend, your neighbor, your relative, or someone you just met, harvesting the deer just as if you had done it yourself? Oftentimes we forget that hunting is supposed to be recreation. It's recreation where we get to actually harvest some food too, but it's supposed to be recreation. It's supposed to be fun. Don't let greed, envy, lust, and the other 7 deadly sins ruin your time spent in the woods with friends and family. Oh, and take a kid hunting. About using the dogs. In prehistory, mankind domesticated dogs as our hunting partners. Ancient man hunted in packs, just like we do today. Our technology's better, but we're still working together as a team, and it all comes down to teamwork between men and their symbiotic relationship with their hounds. This story was written by me, Todd Edwards, in 2019. It's a true story that happened at Richlands Hunting Club in Onslow County. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being there. Come back next time for another Campfire Stories with Sasquatch.